I don't know when I started keeping it. There's no title, no folder, no formal record, but I know exactly who's on it. The list. People who hurt me, betrayed me, walked away when I needed them most. Some names I thought I'd moved on from. Some names I've circled again and again. I used to think the list made me stronger, but if I'm honest, it's made me tired. This season on Other People's Shoes, we're opening up the pages, not to fix it, to admit the list exists, and ask what it's really costing us to keep it. Welcome to Season 23, The List. Now, here's your host, Neil Matthews.
Yes, thank you, Jessica Lewis. So kind of you to welcome us in today, as you have done all season long. I feel like she's a little bit of an extension of the team. Just excited to be here. It took us a while to get here. I had to Google it to make sure I got it right. It generally takes about 21 hours to get from Oregon, not to be confused with North Carolina, Oregon to South Africa. I did Google it. It generally takes over 21 hours with stops in London, Dubai, and other major cities. Delta can get us there. United can get us there. British Airways can get us there. Who knew? I don't know if I could be on a plane for over 21 hours. You know what? I might do it because our guest is there and he is ready. Let me tell you, a list we want to pay close attention to today. I got a feeling we're going to resonate on some level with. I just have a feeling. Help me welcome in my new friend, Gareth. Gareth, how are you today?
Feeling good, brother. Thank you for having me on the show, Neil.
Did you know it would take me over 21 hours?
I did. I've done the trip a few times, having traveled from the States. And I think I shared with you before we jumped on this call that I used to live in Guatemala. And when I came back to South Africa this time, it actually took me 30 something hours because I had to catch some crazy connection. So yeah, I'm not scared of long flights. 21 hours would probably be about right.
I did 8 hours. We did Oregon to Hawaii a number of years back. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. The idea of being over the water for that long period of time, it did make me think of Tom Hanks in Castaway. I don't know if you've seen that one. I was really afraid we were going to end up on some remote island and I was going to have to open FedEx boxes past the time. Nobody wants that. I feel
you were actually on your way to a remote island in some ways.
Yeah, in some ways. Yeah, because I think he was on... I can't remember what island he was on. I just remember thinking, man, I don't want to crash. I am always excited when I get to talk to somebody definitely outside the United States. I always feel like sometimes our U.S. culture doesn't make sense and sometimes your culture doesn't make sense. It's also funny when I talk to somebody from Canada, somehow I think they're in this whole different planet. Canada really is, I feel like, a whole different planet. That's a little bit of a slam on my Canadian friends. What is the coolest thing that happens in South Africa that most people in the United States maybe wouldn't understand or maybe would be wowed by, perhaps?
That's a great question. I would say one of the unique experiences about coming to South Africa would be going on safari. You get to see elephant, lion, rhinoceros, all in their natural habitat, giraffe. I think that's probably what most Americans just don't have a reference point for. And when I was a summer camp counselor in upstate New York. When I first left school in my 20s, a lot of Americans at that time thought Africa meant that I had lions walking around in the street and stuff like that. It's wild out here. We have shopping malls and restaurants and chains and that type of stuff. Yeah, to come to South Africa and go on safari and to sit on the back of a game viewing vehicle and to see these big wild animals in their natural habitat, that's definitely one of the things I would recommend.
Did it at Walt Disney World. I did their African safari. Can't remember what they call it, but it is a ride you can, or an attraction, I guess you could say, that you can take. You get to see like a rhino and you get to see a giraffe, but there's nothing like seeing it, as you said, in their natural habitat. I don't think Disney's putting them in their natural habitat. They're trying to. They're trying to make them think that really not that
I mean,
way.
the Kruger National Park, where I would want to take you when you come visit me in South Africa, is the same size as the UK. It's massive. It's huge. Wow. You could drive for 12 hours from top to bottom. You're also driving at a slow speed because it's a national park. That's huge. The elephants get to roam in their natural environment and they've got a lot of space to be able to move as opposed to what you would have experienced in a theme park, for sure.
Where was the birthplace? Where's the accent come in from?
I came into this matrix in Durban, South Africa. It's the third biggest city in South Africa. A fourth generation South African. My great-grandparents on my mom's side came from Germany and my dad's side came from the UK. So German, South African. I've got a white skin, although I live in a country that's predominantly made up of Africans with a black skin. And we've got about 50 million people as our population, and about 7 or 8 million are white. We've got a big Indian population, and then the rest is black Africans.
I was picking up an accent, and maybe it is a little bit of the South African, maybe a little German. Maybe that's what I'm hearing.
You'd pick it up when you come here. I think a lot of people sound like me. It's probably just sounding strange to your ear, but a lot of South Africans sound similar to me, I would say.
My Siri, my Alexa at home, of course, my new Alexa, she's the Alexa Plus. She usually has an Australian accent. And my wife always gives me a bad time about that. And then when I told her you were coming on, she's like, great. So now we're going to have a South African accent. I was like, yeah, I mean, it sounds kind of similar. Now Alexa's talking to me. Alexa, stop. I have to be careful.
You said her name.
I said her name. Yeah, I said her name. That's what happens. Well, on to you. Gareth, help us with this. What size shoes do you wear in South Africa?
I wear the same size shoes in South Africa and in Guatemala, wherever I am, and they're a size 44.
I didn't know if it changed when you came over, so that's a good question.
That'll be the same everywhere.
So 44. It's the same everywhere, 44. And that's a European size, I'm guessing?
That's 44. I think it's like an 11 in the States.
I was just going to Google that. Let's see, 44, I think it's EU. Yes, so yes, you are correct. It is an 11 in men's to an 11 and a half. That's pretty easy. I also wear that same size, so that'll be fun. Now, here's my question that is so important. Is there a style or brand of shoe that you prefer maybe more than another?
I feel like we could spend this entire podcast talking about this. I have basically done a lot of long distance and extreme sports in my life. That looks like marathons and ultra marathons, and I've done Ironman. And when I was training for those events, I tended to pick up a lot of injuries. And then I read this book called Born to Run. And Born to Run is basically a recognition that our feet are not actually supposed to live in shoes. We're supposed to be barefoot. That's how we used to move through the world. That a lot of us are doing long distance by running in specific shoes that change the natural way that our feet land on the floor because of the way the shoes have been designed. So having read this book, it all seemed to make sense to me. And I actually went on what I call a barefoot journey, which is starting to wear shoes that have a flat sole where you can feel the ground underneath, and they don't have a lift from that supports the heel. It's as natural as possible. And so over the last few years, I've been on a barefoot journey. And so I've got a couple of different styles of shoes that are creating a space for a wide toe box, which means my toes can move around inside the shoe the way that they're supposed to. And when I walk or move or run, my feet land with the ball of my foot first and not with a flat foot. And this is what was causing me so many injuries. There's a brand called Vibram. You might have seen them. They look pretty ugly. They're like a glove that goes onto your foot where each toe goes into its own space. That's the shoe that I do the most running in. I hike in it, I do trail run. And then I've got slightly more sophisticated versions of those that closed shoe box like Vivo Barefoot. And I wear those as smart shoes and dress shoes. But really the journey for me has been coming back to getting my feet as natural as possible. And it's really supported me. It's improved my posture. I've got no injuries now as I've been doing running and stuff like that. So, and I could talk about this forever. It's been a really important journey for me.
All right. So you said you're a runner. I used to run 5Ks, 10Ks. I've done 2 half marathons. No fulls.
Oh, awesome.
No fulls. That's crazy talk. Let's not talk about a full marathon. That sounds crazy. But Ironman too sounds crazy. Actually, when I was in Hawaii, I actually ran a 5K race. And then the next day they started the official Ironman race. This was like
that's the one.
Prelim. The kickoff was for Ironman. I just remember running in Hawaii. I probably could have ran faster had I not been so distracted by the ocean as I'm running by it. I'm like, man, this is so pretty. And I'm like, wait, I'm in a race. Get your head in the game. Do you have a PR in the 5K, or is that too small of a race for you to run?
PR on a 5K was when I was quite a bit younger, and it's somewhere around 19 minutes or something like that. Now I'd probably run like 23 if I was to go out there. Yeah, I'm more about just getting a slow, steady pace and enjoying my exercise.
I just was curious if my time was better than your time. That's really all that was. And it's not. So for the record, and it's not for the record. I haven't run under sub 20 since high school. So I remember in elementary school, 4th grade specifically, Miss Haggerty, I don't know where she is now. She had this thing in her class that if you did something wrong, had to be corrected, you put your name on the board. Most of us remember that maybe. I don't know if that translated to South Africa or in your journeys. In America, that's what we did. If you were bad, you had to put your name on the board. And if you got a check, you got in more trouble. And then if you got got another check, you were in like serious trouble. You were getting a note sent home to mom and dad, or maybe even a phone call. I know some of the kids are like, note sent home? What is that? It's okay.
No,
it
we have
happened.
notes.
And I remember we had just gotten whiteboards in my school. We had gone away from like the chalkboards. We had the dry erase boards. And I went up and had to put my name on the board. And I grabbed the pen, and it was a Sharpie. It was a permanent marker, not the dry erase marker. And I wrote my name, and she's like, you know that's permanent. And I looked at her and I said, you and I both know it's going to be back up here tomorrow. So let's just save time.
Amazing.
The idea of it being permanent, like it's going to be up there tomorrow too. And maybe that's somebody right now. And maybe that's been you. Is there's a name on that list that no matter what you do, it's still there tomorrow. It's still coming back up. Is there a name or a situation? And again, you don't necessarily have to give us the real name. You can choose a different name if you would prefer anonymity. What name or what situation may be on that list?
Thank you for sharing that. I really love this theme of this season that you're doing, and it's one of the reasons that you and I connected. And I think for me, what's probably more important when I think about this list, the idea of a list, is more how I look at human relationships. Like my work in this lifetime has to do with relationships and sexuality. I believe that we have contracts with other human beings who come into our lives to teach us something. If we can see the relationships that we have as opportunities for our soul to be able to grow, I think that suddenly the list where I feel like I'm keeping score is actually a list of human beings that have come into my human experience to help me grow. And so when I think about this list, and this is work that I've been doing over the last decade, I'm really trying to get to a place where I'm as current as possible with loving, accepting, and integrating the lessons that I've had from all the people that have come into my life, including the people that feel like they have betrayed me, let me down, cheated on me, done something that's made me feel uncomfortable. I think my work to do is to recognize how quickly can I come to a place of love and acceptance to be able to say, wow, I can really see why this human being came into my life, because this is how I've grown from it. This is how I've evolved as a soul because of this person. And the way that I hold this is, if there's anybody on that list that I'm basically feeling like my life is worse off because of them, because they're on this list, I have the story that I'm giving them some power. I've handed some power over to them that says something like, because you were a business partner of mine and you ran away with some of the money, and therefore I'm going to be angry about it today. That means I can't be happy today until that either money comes back or something else. But when I reframe that particular experience to be like, wow, he came into my life to teach me to trust my intuition, or to be grateful for the fact that I got into another path. As soon as I hold those relationships in that vein, I reclaim my power. And now my list is more about people that have come in to teach me something in this human experience. I have a list of people that I'm finding continually a way to be able to love and to integrate. And what I say to people that I work with, if you have people in your life that you don't feel anything except love, appreciation, and gratitude about that connection or that relationship, for whatever hardship it brought into your life, there's work to do. There's something for you to do in that particular space to be able to say, what is the reason that this person came into my life? How do I reclaim that power? And I think the way that we reclaim our power is to say, I can see why this person came into my life, and this is how I've grown.
I think that's the challenge. You said it. We're in a sense giving them power. We're giving it over. We're laying it down, which is good. Some people maybe struggle with that and struggle understanding that. Was there a catalyst really for this work that you're doing? Was there a moment that you're like, oh, this is the moment. This is what I was designed to do. Nobody walks through life without any pain. Nobody walks through life without any heartache. Everybody's had on some level, and even someone that's hurt them. If we were going to use an airport analogy, everybody's been bumped into, everybody's been jostled a little bit. Was that for you?
Yeah, this doesn't take away some of the pain and heartache that comes from the human condition when you're attached to an outcome, like a timeline with a person or a business that you think is going to work with a business partner that perhaps doesn't go according to plan. No, it's not without that. I think probably the most significant experience for me was I left Johannesburg, which is the city that I spent most of my life in, and I'd built a business there, and I had found myself in this place of feeling quite empty in my life. It looked like a lot of going out, a lot of drinking, a lot of partying. I kept very busy. I wasn't very able to be relaxed with myself. I woke up one morning having been in this, I would call it a funk or a depression for a couple of years. And I looked ahead at my life and I was like, wow, I don't think I'm going to be alive if I keep living like this. There was a lot of stress in my life. I was pretty unhappy. I was keeping myself very busy. Also didn't tell anybody about the fact that I felt so empty and felt so depressed. That left me to go on a 6-month adventure where I left Johannesburg and I went traveling. And my travels took me to a beach in Thailand eventually. In these 6 months, I had been learning all these different modalities for self-healing. I had come to a place of really starting to love and accept myself. I had a practice of meditation. I had done some tantra work and I'd been learning about relationships. On this beach in Thailand, I met this amazing woman who at the time was ticking all of the boxes of exactly who I wanted to call into my life. I was like, oh, this is perfect. I know why this is happening. It's because I've done all of this work and it's because I've got this list of the perfect partner that I'm attracting that this amazing being has shown up. And so me and this woman have a beautiful connection for 2 months on the beach in Thailand. I would say at that moment when I met her, I'm like, this is the woman of my dreams. This is the woman that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. We had these 2 months together. We were planning our lives long term. She was also traveling full time like I was. Everything was matching up. And I was so excited to bring her home to introduce her to my parents. I had thought about the idea of marriage and how I was going to propose. We were going to meet in South Africa. She had plans to come to South Africa. I had a flat that I'd rented in another part of Thailand, which meant she was going to leave me in Bangkok to come to South Africa. I was going to head back to Chiang Mai, another city in Thailand, pack up my flat, and we were going to meet in South Africa. I dropped her off at the airport in Bangkok. She went up the escalator, and that was the last time I saw the woman of my dreams. She sent me a message a couple of days later saying, listen, she doesn't know if it's going to work. And she basically sort of ghosted me. I fell into a deep depression again. I was like, no, this is not the way it's supposed to be, not how I had envisioned it. And I spent close to a month in another deep depression. I was living in Thailand, which was amazing. I'm on a beautiful island in this beautiful country, surrounded by amazing people and the ability to travel. And I was so depressed, I didn't even know what to do. And one day, I don't know what it was, but I went on a motorbike ride just to try and clear my head. And I got my journal and I started writing down all the things that I was grateful for about this woman coming into my life and how I had grown as a result of this connection and what I'd learned from it. And in that moment, it felt like 50% of this pain just felt like it lifted off me. And in that moment, I was like, wow, I've been holding this frequency of victim where I have no power because she's gone, to this place of like, oh, wow, now that I know why she came into my life and how much I've grown and how much I've learned, I really came into this place of deep resonance of like, oh, I can see now why she's here and I can see why she showed up. And that was it for me. That was realizing, like you said, now at this point, I had a list in my life of business partners that had done me in, of relationships that had failed. And I then went back and I used this framework to go revisit every single one of those relationships time and time again. And this is the work that I do with a lot of my clients. I actually walk them through these processes, and there's some somatic work and some emotional work as well, also to move trapped emotion out of the body, like the rage that you have or the anger or frustration, to actually move that through the body. But the other part is just to recognize how these beings have come into your life to help your soul evolve in this incarnation. And I had to have this experience. First of all, and I'll just give you the lessons because these were the most significant for me. Number one, there was a time in our connection where there was part of me that my intuition felt that she wasn't all in. But the other part of me that was so hopelessly in love with this girl didn't even listen to that part. So I didn't trust my intuition. So a lesson for me was trust that part, trust your intuition. There's valuable data there for me. The second was she basically ended this relationship in a very similar way to the way that I had ended relationships with other women in my past. I got to experience that firsthand, the part that sort of pulled away energetically from my partners because I didn't want to upset them. I didn't want any conflict. But instead of being open and honest and saying, thank you, this has been amazing, but it's over from here, I would just pull away. And I could see how painful that had been for all the people in my past. And I needed to have this experience happen to me so that I could grow and see how I'd been behaving in my relationships. And so, yeah, these were just some of the lessons that I got from a really, really painful experience. And now I love and appreciate those women so much. We're not in each other's worlds anymore, but I can see why she came into my life. And I revisit all the people that are on my list. And when someone comes into my life now and we part ways in a way that sometimes feels uncomfortable or painful, I go as quickly as possible to this place of finding out, why did this person come into my life? How have I grown? What could I have done better? What am I grateful for? What would I do differently next time? And those are some of the questions that I actually coach my clients through to help them come to this place of love and acceptance so that we don't leak energy or give our power away to people on the list.
Has Hallmark called you or anybody from like maybe Lifetime, those two channels? Has that made it to South Africa? Has Hallmark movies made it to South Africa?
Yeah, no one's called me up yet.
Nobody's called you? What?
Why would they have called me?
I feel like what you just described is like a Hallmark movie. You're traveling, international businessman trying to get away for a while, goes to Thailand, this exotic area, meets the woman of his dreams. She's also traveling.
It was that.
There's no last 5 minutes of the movie, romantic kiss on the beach as the sun's going down. Let's plan our lives together. There's none of that.
In some ways, I think that there's a bit of that on this journey. And that was probably close to 10 years ago, that story that I just told you now. And since then, I've been continued to do my own personal growth work, which looks like falling more in love and accepting myself fully. I then got into another partnership probably about 6.5 years ago. And me and this partner were in a really beautiful, significant connection. 6.5 years is the longest duration as well as the deepest relationship I'd ever been in. Both of us were in a similar frequency when we met each other, and our relationship ended about 7 months ago. From the moment our relationship went our separate ways, both her and I went into this place of celebration together, celebrating our relationship. How can we learn and grow from this? How could I have been better in this relationship? Although it was significant, and this is what you touched on earlier, I definitely felt the grief and the pain of letting go of this last relationship because I thought we'd be together forever. I had the sense that was going to happen. And when she ended it, there was a part of me that was heartbroken. And as soon as I was like, wow, I can just allow the grief to move through me and to feel it and express it while also celebrating the love that I have for this amazing woman and seeing how this path has basically grown me and grown her. There's only been love. And it really feels like, I would say, the most mature relationship ending I've been through. I was in a place of love and acceptance from the beginning, and so was she. Paths are different now, and we're both on different tracks, but I think this work is really anchored in me in a way that I also support the men that I work with, specifically in relationship. You don't have to hold on to this thing forever. There doesn't have to be someone on your list. If you write them on your list as a Sharpie, it's on a Sharpie because you like, this person came into my life to teach me these things, and this is why I've grown, as opposed to they're on there written as a Sharpie because I'm always going to be disappointed by that. I think that's a choice.
Relationships are just hard.
Yeah.
My wife and I were actually talking about this recently. She wants to get a tattoo with a very good friend of ours. I've known her longer, by the way. She was my friend first, and I met her in middle school. And then my wife came along as my girlfriend and then obviously became my wife. They are more friends now than I think this friend and I are. They want to get matching tattoos. And good. I'm like, well, you and I should get a tattoo. My wife and I should. Like, we've been together a long time. And she said, yeah, but, I'm like, yeah, but what? There's no yeah, but what? There's nothing. I think so many times we think people are going to be in our lives forever. We hope that they're going to be in our lives forever. Unfortunately, death is undefeated. And people leave, people go. And Gareth, everything you're saying, I absolutely resonate with. And that's why I gave you the invitation to join the party or, come on and share that part of your story. I truly struggle. I am on the struggle bus. I absolutely love meeting new people. Okay. This is my scenario. I'm going to give it to you. Respond how you would respond. So I meet somebody. I like them. We have similar interests. I want to immediately start hanging out with them, spending time with them. Something happens. Maybe I've upset them or they upset me. Maybe there's no upset. Maybe there's no offense. But just over time, it just seems like they don't care as much as maybe I do. And then I overcare and I overshare. My wife has made the joke for years that I'm like a Care Bear. I just care too dang much for people. Mm-hmm. And then when I don't feel like their care is equal to my care, in other words, it's not being reciprocated. If we're going to like care meter, I'm caring at 90, they're caring at maybe 40, we'll say. And then I get disappointed because I'm like, listen, I'm caring at 90, you're caring at 40. Maybe that's where the offense comes in because I don't feel like they're carrying on again on the same level. And then I start pushing them away because I'm like, listen, you don't care as much. Mm-hmm. And then eventually over time, it's taken a while. Then guess what? I put them on a list. What do you make of that?
I have a question. Where did you learn that friendships were based majoritively in care?
Care may not be the right word.
So let me ask you this, specifically, was there a part in your childhood where when you were showing up and showing care for others, that was a strategy that was rewarded in your upbringing?
I don't know if it was rewarded. It just seemed like I saw people doing that. Okay. Maybe a learned trait. And I don't know where it would have come from. Again, I have a tremendous overcare. I will care the freaking crap out of people. And then if I don't feel like it's reciprocated in any way, I'm like, oh, you don't like my care. Like a good cup of coffee. Oh, you don't like that? Okay, that's fine. I'm going to go find someone else then that can understand or can try to match my care for care.
If we switch the word care for love, I would say that I think love should be given unconditionally, meaning with the friendships and relationships that you have, you want to love the person without conditions. It's not like they have to love you back a certain way in order for you to keep loving them. The love that you give, I think, can be analyzed in terms of like, is this person in this relationship showing up in a way that it feels like there's an equal match of energy? If you and I are friends and I'm continually showing up for you and I don't feel like that's coming back, then the self-loving part of me is going to have to put up a wall and say, okay, I've given unconditionally to Neil as a friend, but I don't feel like he's showing up. He never returns text messages. Maybe we're not in the same frequency. And so I think there's a two-way street there. I think what you touched earlier, which was probably more interesting, is the part that's like, we have this theory in the West that things are supposed to last forever. Relationships are supposed to last forever. I think two things are involved here. First of all, there's the saying that I have that people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. A reason would be my connection in Thailand. I needed to learn something. A season is you and I cross paths, we go on an adventure together, and then our paths drift apart for no reason. As you said, sometimes there's pain, sometimes there's not. Our souls floated together for a while and they're not together anymore for whatever those particular elements of that connection might be. And then lifetime, there are some connections that last a lifetime. Maybe the connection you have with your soul family, your mom and dad, will be a lifetime. Your wife may be a lifetime connection. There might be some friends that you meet in primary school and are lifetime friends, but maybe they're not. I think the suffering comes when we take reason or season relationships and try and force them into being lifetime connections. That creates some pain because it's like, oh, this should be a lifetime relationship. And it's like, no, maybe you just needed to spend some time together or learn a lesson from them. And there's something also on the path, and this is what I've learned as well. If you're a person that's committed to personal growth and you're continually growing and expanding your capacity to love, you're naturally going to be outgrowing people that are on a different frequency to you. So you might have a friend from school who's choosing a different path to you while you're in this place of expanding your love, deepening your connection, growing. That's going to trigger a whole lot of places in the relationship you have with that friend who's not growing, where he's going to naturally want to push you apart. And this is kind of a hard thing to face, built into the journey of being someone who's on a path of personal development. If you continue to grow, you are going to naturally outgrow people. It's not a better than or a worse than thing. It's just that you vibrate differently and you're going to start to touch parts of their experience where they can't spend time with you and you don't have the capacity. Let me say this a different way. We can only receive love to the capacity that we can love ourselves. So let's use your example. I'm your friend. I love myself a 40. I love myself not entirely. I've got parts of myself that I don't like. The Gareth that was an addict, I don't like him. I put him aside. I don't love that part. So if I use your analogy, I'm vibrating at a 40. You love yourself to 100. You can give to 100. But when you put 100's worth of love into me, I can only receive 40 and it's completely overwhelming. And so I have to pull away. And so there's a natural progression in the energy that moves if somebody doesn't have the same level of frequency or energy in their field. If you're carrying at 100 and I'm only at a 40, I'm going to drown in that connection, bro. And so the way through is to, I say, release with love. Let the person who's vibrating at a 40 carry on their path. Love them. If they come back, let them into your life, but don't dim your lights to try and fit into a box. You'll find people that are vibrating at 100 and just trust that they're going to come, but don't be attached to the outcome. Don't try and make a reason or a season friendship into a lifetime friendship.
I think that's brilliant. I think you might have solved all my problems in one fell swoop. I think you hit it on the head. I've never thought about it from that standpoint. And that's what I love about this show is things like this happen. And I'm like, dumbfounded. You're absolutely right. Is if I'm at 100 and somebody's at a 40 and I keep trying to cram my 100 into them, they can only handle the 40. They can't.
Exactly.
And I think the other struggle I run into, I think everyone should be a lifelong friend.
Why?
I don't know. And that's the reality. I don't know. I truly don't know. Like, I don't know.
So let me ask you this. I mean, if you meet 1,000 people in your lifetime,
yeah,
you don't have capacity to stay friends with 1,000 people. Like, what does friendship mean? Like, how could you possibly have capacity to nurture the friendships that you make along the way without releasing them and trusting? What does a lifelong friend mean? Like, if you and I got off this call and never spoke again, I feel a kinship to you. I would say we'd be friends. Like, what does lifelong friend mean? I don't know if you have capacity to do that.
And I think that's the thing is in my head and in my heart, there's like this long distance road. It's probably only 8 to 10 miles. It's a valid point. I think part of me is just, I struggle with attachment. Like I want to be everyone's friend. I want everyone to be my friend. I want it all. I've texted some friends that I've met through the years in podcasting that used to be super tight during the pandemic. Well, of course we were tight during the pandemic. There was nobody nobody else to talk to. I mean, we were all locked in our house. It was a captive audience, all these things. And then when we kind of quote unquote went life back to normal, to your point, the friendship has kind of swayed a little, has kind of spread some distance. And then it's like, well, are we as tight as we were? Well, we can pick up right where we left off again, and it's okay. Part of me is like, again, I'm carrying at an 80 and you're carrying only at a 20. Maybe that's all they can give is a 20. Can I be okay with their 20?
Can you be okay if they don't come into your life again?
That part I'm not okay with.
Yeah.
Is I don't want to see people go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I hate death. I hate a broken relationship. I hate a broken relationship. I hate a broken relationship. I really do. I really do. I hate a broken relationship.
Right.
How do I fix that? Or is there a way?
I believe that the West has got a very immature relationship with death. We see it in all of our commercials. We continually talk about new beginnings and manifesting our partner. No one's really big on endings. We had a call in our discovery call was talking about this, and there is no life without death. It's built into it. It's part of it. It's like the opposite side of the coin. It's like you can't have a coin with only one side. Death is part of life, and we're going to all return there at some point. If we choose to be in opposition to death, we're choosing to suffer because it's an inherent part of our life experience. The magic for me is really spending time in nature. And you see a huge redwood that's grown for a few hundred years topple over in the forest. That has died, but almost the tree hasn't even hit the ground, and more ecosystem and life is alive in the roots and the bark as it starts to fall back and go round into this natural cycle of nature. And the more time I spend in nature, the more I realize that there is no death. The energy continues and the consciousness continues. Death is inherently part of life. And this is also part of the human experience. The relationship that I just went through now that ended is a death in many ways. It was the death of a timeline. I lived in Guatemala with this human. It was a death of the version of me that had thought that I was going to be with this person forever. I talk about this idea of mourning future memories. If you with somebody, let's say, for example, your wife, you sit today and you think about, oh, it's going to be amazing. We're going to go on a holiday here. We're going to have kids and they're going to grow up and blah, 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 blah. If for whatever reason that relationship ends, and it will end, at some point, one of you will pass away. People get divorced. Like, ending is inherently part of it. There's nothing permanent about life at all. Nothing in life is permanent. When it goes away, you need to mourn the future memories of what you had projected into the future, the same as you mourn the relationship from the past. So mourning and grief is inherently part of the cycle. I'll share one practice is to sit with death, to sit with it every day and think about the fact that you're going to die, to really be in this place of, I'm going to pass away at some point. And for a lot of people, that's going to sound super morbid. But what it does is it really brings you back into the preciousness of this life that you have right now. Neil, you don't know if you're going to be promised the next breath. We're not promised anything. We're all going to die one day, but it's not going to be today. We live with that theory. And who knows when we're going to be passing away. But if I sit in the morning and in my meditation, I think death is imminent. What am I going to do today that really matters? It really actually gets me to a point, and maybe this will tie a bow on this. I don't want to spend time around people that don't want to spend time around me. Why the fuck would I want to spend time with somebody who I send a text message to and they don't want to come back? If they don't reply to me, I'm not going to lose my life force or worry in this precious life that I have, knowing that death is coming, that John, that I used to be friends with from primary school, hasn't texted me back. I love you, brother. On your way. I'm in my own path here. I want to be as present as possible. I think the last piece I'll share with you here, what I'm tracking in you, which is something I have in me as well, is this theme of people pleasing. We want other people to like us. It's inherently built into our culture, and evolutionarily it made sense. We wanted the tribe to like us. We wanted us to fit in, because if we didn't, we were out the tribe, we died. So we want to stay in this place. You're not going to die if Jack from primary school doesn't text you back. You're going to be fine. And in some ways, I actually got to this place, and this has been strong for me. I see a no, or a no that where the guy doesn't reply, that's a no in some direction. It's a gift. I don't have to spend time with somebody that's not a full fuck yes for spending time with me. And then I can let that be and really anchor into these relationships and focus on the relationships that are a yes. Yeah, maybe something in there for you just to be with the continual impermanence of our lives, of our bodies, of our relationships, of everything in our world is impermanent.
I think what you're saying is right on. I really do. The idea of somebody not texting us back, all right, time to move on. And I think that's the hard part. I have to remove the offense. I have to remove the fact that it's a personal attack somehow on me.
Right.
I mean, many years ago, when I was first dating my wife, my actual brother insulted my wife. At the time, we were just engaged. I mean, the fight or flight moment was there, and it wasn't flight, it was fight. Right. I've said for years, people can say what they want about me. I'm probably going to be really super hurt, play some sad REM music. Eventually, maybe I'll get over it and I'll put you on a list and we'll move on. You say it about my wife, that's a different animal. You're not going to have to wonder where I am because I'm going to be right in your face.
Right.
that's a whole different animal. That's a whole different offense. I think that's the struggle I run into is I am so easily offended. I am so easily hurt. I am so like the emotions, you don't have to wonder where they are again. They're like right here on my sleeves, just right off the shoulder here. So I think it is a little bit of people pleasing, but I think it is a little bit of, I want you to like me, which I guess is people pleasing. I know you're not a psychologist, as far as I know, but is there any way that people could eliminate that, or I personally can eliminate the fact of maybe the people pleasing would eliminate some people off of our list because we're like, we don't need to worry about pleasing them anymore. Pleasing John from grammar school, or is there any way to do that you found in your work?
Yeah, brother. Thank you. First of all, I just want to say thank you for being so connected to your emotions. A lot of men are not connected to their emotions, and you don't know where you stand with them. They suppress their emotions, and it's such a beautiful skill to see. So yeah, I just want to first of all acknowledge that. That's so amazing.
I'll give you one more second to pause and maybe reflect. I hate it. Okay.
Why?
I believe in God. My deity of choice is God, Jesus Christ. If Jesus Christ came down, met me at Starbucks, you guys have those, I hope. Right.
Yep,
okay.
we do.
Just checking. Again, that's just being silly. If God came down, met me at a coffee shop, getting my cold brew with cold foam and hazelnut, and I don't know what he's drinking, maybe an Americano, just because it's really good. And he said, listen, Neil, I'm going to give you anything you want. It's yours. You got one shot. Here it is. What do you want? I think I would say, give me less emotion. As you already pointed out, I look at my friends, my male friends, and I'm like, none of them have this.
They do. They're just pressing it down.
Okay, fair enough.
All of us are human beings with emotions. We're emotional beings. We've been told that a masculine man is somebody who doesn't show his emotions. And I actually think that that's a lot of the problem that happens in the world right now, which is that men don't express their emotions. They've been told that there's something wrong with them. And as soon as you feel something that feels uncomfortable, you want to numb it out, or you want to suppress it, or you want to distract yourself with social media or porn or work or alcohol or vaping or cannabis or whatever your drug of choice is. We don't want to feel these uncomfortable emotions. Your emotions are a guidance system to let you know that everything in your world is safe or not. And in quote unquote negative emotions, I say negative in quotes because there's no such thing as a negative emotion. Those emotions are pointing to something. When you feel triggered because somebody insults your wife, there's a reason that you feel that way. It's somebody overstepping a boundary and potentially dropping into something that is going to harm something that's of importance to you. There's a reason that you feel that emotion. If your bro mates choose not to show their emotions and suppress them, they're in fact disconnecting themselves from their emotional guidance system, the wisdom that your emotions bring you that let you know that your life is on track. If you feel frustrated every day when you get home from work, that's not a problem. Your frustration is pointing to something. You might be in a dull job where you're counting beans for somebody that you don't care about, for a product you don't care about, just to earn money, to live in a system, to pay for stuff that you don't use. Like, there's a reason you feel frustrated. It's not a glitch. It's the indicator. And so I think to be able to feel that is super, super important. Half of my work is to get men back to where you are so that they can feel these feelings, so that they can speak openly about the fact that you're allowed to feel shit. It's part of the human condition to have up and down days. The most important thing for me, and this is the biggest thread through my work, is radical honesty. If you and I go for a beer and you ask me, Gareth, how's it going? And I've been having a bad day at work, and I say, I don't want to burden you with my stuff. I don't want to be the grumpy guy or something like that. And I say, yeah, Neil, it's been good. How about you? That's dishonest. That's not being nice to you. That's being dishonest. And I'm not saying that you should give all your bad news to the Uber driver or the person at Starbucks who serves your coffee. They're not ready for that. But if you genuinely want to have an authentic relationship with somebody, your wife or a friend, you owe it to them to be honest. And being honest sometimes looks messy, but we try so hard to keep it all together and only bring the good stuff that you only get to know half of me, because the bad stuff, which also exists, is also the opposite side of the coin. This world of polarity means we have both good and bad and positive and negative. You only get to see the good side of me. And that's not the whole version of Gareth. And in fact, at some point, if I only bring that, you're going to go, something's up with that dude. He never has a bad day. What is wrong with him? You want to almost tap on the glass to see what's inside there. It's not true. It's completely untrue. And it leaves the double-edged sword here, is it leaves everybody else going, oh, everybody's so positive. Maybe I'm the one who's fucked up because I'm having a bad day. Nobody else seems to be doing it. Social media, everybody's showing the best version of themselves. All my friends have got things going together. It's inauthentic and it's dishonest, and it can't build trust that way. So yeah, thank you for wearing your emotions, and please don't wish them away, bro. Keep bringing that, because that's what the world needs right now.
I do know people who act like everything's fine, no matter what.
But a part of you knows that it's not true, right?
Yeah. No, every time I'm around that person, I want to get far away from them. I don't trust them.
Thank you. That's what it is. You can't trust somebody that doesn't be honest, bro.
It's like a lie detector or like a warning system. I'm thinking like Jurassic Park when the dinosaurs get loose, like wah, wah, scary, get away from me. I don't want to be around that.
No.
Even somebody who is very guarded, even somebody who is not as emotionally, we'll say emotions aren't on display as much. They're more reserved. Even them, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I can let you around me yet. I don't know if I want to let you in. We were in a previous season called Who's There? I don't know if I want to let you in the door yet. I don't know. You can stay on the porch. I don't know if I want you to come in my house yet.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the switch for me, and maybe that's the perspective shift. It sounds like what you're saying is really be sure, and maybe, again, maybe I'm misinterpreting, so please, of course, please correct. But maybe it's about being limited to who I share that with. Not so much reserved, looking and evaluating the room and going, okay, yep, I can trust that person, and trust may be the wrong word. They're going to be able to handle some of my emotions. Okay, this person may not, and evaluate it that way. Is that what you're saying, or missing the mark?
Yeah, you're on point. Like, the word I use is discernment. It's like, who am I going to share this information with, and does it matter? So there's certain things that, for example, you may want to bring to your relationship that you want to share with your wife, but maybe you need to process the emotion through your own body first. Relationships only fail. This is a friendship or a romantic relationship or a marriage. They fail from one thing and one thing only. And that thing is called withholding. It's where some part of you doesn't bring your authentic truth, or doesn't own a desire, or doesn't say where you're angry, or doesn't, you just hold little bits of information. You come home and you think, oh, there she's doing blah, blah, blah again. And we all have these in a relationship. This is the nature of relationship. You get home, the person's done something that you don't like, and you think, I'll keep the peace and I won't say anything. Just imagine one paper cut, boom. Over years, there's 10,000 paper cuts that are slowly degrading this relationship because you're withholding your truth instead of bringing it. Who do you choose to bring these things to? It sort of depends on who the relationship is. Your Uber driver, probably not going to give him all the details of your personal life and your erectile dysfunction. But if you're talking to a mate who's super close, you really genuinely have a friendship with this brother, you'll be like, hey man, I'm really battling to have the sex life that I wish I had, or my wife and I are not having as much lovemaking as I wish we were having, or I'm going through some challenging stuff. Like, that's an authentic expression that's builds trust. And when you say that to me, I'm like, oh, thank God. He's a human being that's having good days, but he also has bad days, and he brings those things. The level of information that you bring is going to be determined by the depth and the intensity of that connection. So your primary connection would be with your wife. You spend the most amount of time with her. You've got the most amount of timelines woven together. From there, it sort of spirals outwards. Maybe your circle of mates, they would be like a level 2 or 3. You and I might have a chat once a year. You'll bring certain stuff, but not all of it. With your wife, you want to be as current as possible with what's alive in you right now, including the messiness. It's like, hey, I'm actually a bit worried about money. I just want you to know that, so that it's out in the field. This is my plan. She can feel it. For the exact reason that you just said, if you keep that from her, she can feel that something's up, but she goes, hey, Neil, how was your day? You go, fine. And then she can't trust you if you're withholding. And the same would be on her side. So you have to create safe spaces in your relationship to bring all of it, the messiness, the places where you felt annoyed, and just trust that that's actually a sign of vulnerability that's building the relationship and making it stronger.
Well, you mentioned your work a few times. If somebody is resonating, or maybe vibing or vibrating in your direction, or feeling that vibration, that seems weird for me to say, but it's your language, so we're going to stick with it. What is the best way that they can connect with you? Is there a social media of choice you love to hang out on?
Thank you, brother. I imagine a world where human beings remember our relationships and sexuality as doorways to awakening and personal growth. A world where everybody feels free to express their desires safely and have authentic conversations with one another. And that's the world that I want to live in. And so my work is really around that. I host a podcast called the Fathers, Sons, Brothers podcast. I spend some time on Instagram and Facebook, but you can get hold of me at GarethPickering.com. Gareth Pickering, that's my last name.com, and all my social links and podcasts are there. And yeah, I'd love to connect with anybody that wants to journey more deeply with me.
Awesome. And we will, of course, link all of that in our show notes. So check the doobly doos for that. Gareth, I just want to say honestly, man, thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate all that you gave, all that you shared. Some really good food for thought if people really heard you and listened to you, which hopefully they did. And if they didn't, they should rewind, because there were some nuggets in there. They can just cultivate them out of there. Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate you.
Thanks for the work you do, brother. It's been an honor being on the show, man.
All right, guys and gals, kids and campers alike, that is it. That is all. That is, in fact, our show today. Don't say hooray. That's not the line. I know I say that. I kind of set you up every week like you're supposed to say hooray. No, it's not a hooray. Listen, who has not? Right now, just think about it in your car. Think about it in your headphones. I mean, I know you're probably at the gym right now. Just throw your hands up if this is you. All right, you ready? Have you ever ghosted someone? Be honest. Be honest. Come on. Let me see those hands up. All right, I'm going to trust the fact that some of you are putting your hand up. I've done it. Not happy about it. Not proud of it, but I have done it. I did it to a potential guest. I really struggled with that. And in this season, I think this got flushed out. And I think Gareth may have helped flush that out for me today, is that I did do that. I don't like that I did that. Not happy that I did that. But maybe the person wasn't serving me. In fact, I know the person wasn't serving me. Does that make it any better? I don't know. Tell me what I should do. Isn't that what we do? When we run into something, we immediately go to someone else and think, okay, this is how we fix it, and this is what you should do. But what if the answer's really inside? You know what to do. Come on now. You know what the right thing to do is, don't we? I think we do, don't we? I don't know. Let me know. You can let me know at opspodcast.com. That's a great place to let me know. You can also let me know on the socials at OPS Podcast Show under Facebook, Instagram, and X. And don't forget this, of course. Remember, when you walk in other people's shoes, you really do get a different perspective on life. I want to thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned till next week when we walk in other people's shoes.